Welcome to the Running Start Parent Guardian Welcome Night. My name is LaToya Holt and I am one of the advisors for the Running Start department. Our goal this evening is to familiarize you with the Running Start program at Green River College and provide you with the information you need to best support your student as they transition into the college environment. If you have any questions about this presentation, stay tuned because my colleague Lindsay Morris will be available for a live Q&A at the end of the presentation. So let's get started. To give you an overview of our agenda, this evening we will be covering the following information: Green River College, Running Start at Green River College, supporting your new Running Start student, enrollment verification form and payment, and degree options. The Running Start team at Green River College is dedicated to supporting your students' education. Many other colleges either co-advise Running Start students or the Running Start team is co-located in the General Advising Center. However, here at Green River, we have our own Running Start office and our staff works solely with students enrolled in the Running Start program. The Running Start team is here to provide your student with advising for course placement, educational planning, transfer planning, resource connection, and other needs. We support through various formats and programs such as orientations, appointments, workshops, email, and social media. On the top row, left to right, we have Lindsay Morris, the director of Running Start, followed by Rosalind Polita, our program specialist, and Mariana Limos, our program coordinator. On the bottom row, we have our Running Start advising staff. The Running Start advising team consists of 4 advisors who work with students based on last name. My colleague Natalie Ramsey is the educational planner for students' last names A through F. Again, my name is LaToya Holt and I work with students' last names G through L. And my colleague Shweta Singh works with students' last names S through Z. We are currently in the process of hiring a 4th advisor. Once onboarded, our new advisor will work with last names M through R. If your student falls into this advising alpha, they can meet with either myself, Natalie, or Shweta in the meantime. Green River College has 4 campus locations. Green River's main campus stretches over 180 acres of beautifully forested land in the Lee Hill neighborhood of Auburn. In addition to the main campus, we have 3 branch campuses located in downtown Auburn, Kent, and Enumclaw. Green River offers a wide variety of transfer and career technical degrees. Later in our presentation, my colleague Lindsay will show you where you can find the list of degrees and programs offered at GRC. Green River College offers free tutoring resources to currently enrolled Green River students. If any of you have paid for tutoring services for your student in the past, you know how costly of an expense it can be. We offer free tutoring for most subjects and have specialized learning centers for math, writing, foreign language, and public speaking. Lastly, we would like to highlight our study abroad program. Students enrolled at Green River, including Running Start students, can earn academic credits while living and studying abroad in some of the world's most fascinating places. Some study abroad destinations include Australia and New Zealand, Germany, Costa Rica, Japan, England, and many more. If your student has ever expressed interest in studying abroad, we encourage them to check out the study abroad opportunities offered at GRC. Running Start at Green River College serves over 2,000 students from 40 different high schools across 15 districts. Students can choose to attend any of our campus locations and can choose to attend full-time or part-time. A full-time student taking 15 college credits at GRC can take up to 1 class at the high school. Most of our students intend to transfer to university to complete a bachelor's degree. The great thing about Running Start is a student can make it what they want. Take 1 or 2 classes to try it out, find more challenging courses, work on prerequisites for a major, or earn an AA degree in college. In college, the student is in the driver's seat. As your student shifts from a more controlled environment to a more independent learning environment, it is important to give them the freedom to take responsibility for their educational journey. The Running Start program not only provides an opportunity for your student to earn dual credit, it also provides your student with the opportunity to become empowered, self-motivated, and independent. Alongside the Running Start staff, you can help your student develop a growth mindset by helping them become self-advocates and ready for the adult world, reminding them that challenges, setbacks, and failures are part of the process. Help your student learn, adapt, and develop problem-solving skills. And by helping your student develop good habits like how to be resourceful and proactive in the college environment. There are many ways you, as a parent, guardian, or family member, can support your student's success in college. Every quarter, they need to obtain an enrollment verification form from their high school to participate in Running Start. This form requires a parent-guardian signature each quarter until students are 18. We recognize this can be a difficult transition for students and families alike. We recommend encouraging independence with check-ins and additional support. Students need to be responsible and remember to check their email. You might want to ask them if they've received any important emails from GRC each week. In addition to student email, every student enrolled at Green River College has a student portal known as My Green River. My Green River is a one-stop student shop for all things related to your student's educational record. Your student can view their class schedule, tuition summary, end of quarter grades, advising notes, and upcoming important dates and deadlines, plus so much more in their My Green River portal. In college, there is a huge focus on self-advocacy, which means a student needs to recognize when they need help and seek assistance. Even if they don't know where to go, they can always start with the Running Start team and we can help direct them from there. Students struggle the most with time management, as we've come to learn here during our years in Running Start. However, we did provide a sample time management planning sheet in their wrap materials. And again, the wrap packet was something that we did provide to students during their wrap session. We would encourage you to review not just the wrap packet, but also the time management worksheet with your student. With the time management worksheet, it's important to take a look at the classes that they have registered for, along with any additional commitments that they are involved in, and to start planning for fall quarters so that they are allowing enough time for all of their commitments so that they can be successful in each sector of their life. The Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, otherwise known as FERPA, requires Green River College to obtain written consent prior to disclosure of a student's education record. As a Running Start student at GRC, your student's records are protected by FERPA. This means the Running Start staff cannot share information with you related to your student's record unless your student has completed a release of information form. We included the FERPA release of information form in your student's wrap materials. During their wrap session, we encouraged your student to complete the release of information form and submit it to the Running Start office via email to allow Running Start permission to discuss their records with their parent, guardian, or other designated persons. The release of information form provided to students at the wrap session only authorizes Running Start staff. It does not authorize other departments or faculty to disclose student information. Furthermore, faculty will not discuss a student's progress with anyone without the student's participation, and it is never appropriate for a parent or guardian to contact faculty on their student's behalf. Many students have already submitted their release of information form to the Running Start office. However, we recommend you check in with your student to verify if they have completed the form. If your student has not completed the FERPA release of information form, please remind them to do so. The release of information form must be completed by your student and sent to runningstart@greenriver.edu from their GRC student email account. It's important that we have this FERPA form on file because if you were to call our office to even ask about what the tuition amount is on your student's account, we would not be able to disclose that information with you without that FERPA form on file. So again, please check in with your student to make sure that they have sent their release of information form to the Running Start office. Thank you so much. I'm now going to pass it off to my colleague, Lindsay Morris, to talk about the cost of attending Running Start, academic standards and GRC, academic standards at GRC, and advising and degree planning.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, LaToya. So Running Start, as you hopefully know by now, is not entirely free. The high school and the district does cover tuition for the cost of college, but there is a small chunk of change left. So students and families are responsible for paying for the following each quarter. So number one, textbooks, which can vary a lot between, $10 or $15 for a packet to $200 or $300 for a pretty hefty science or accounting book. Supplies are an additional cost, transportation, and then tuition for classes in which students go over their credit limit, or tuition for classes in which students are registered for that are below college level, for example, a Math 97 class. So what you see on your screen here is a cost scenario for one quarter. Okay, in this situation, a Running Start student is attending full-time or taking 15 credits. So the base cost is always starting with student voted fees, which is based on the number of credits a student is taking. Student voted fees typically cover technology fee, student center fee, matriculation fee, things like that. In this scenario, for 15 credits, student voted fees are $184.50. Class fees are then added on top of that. Typically, an in-person class has little to no class fees, whereas a hybrid or online class carry additional fees to support the online learning platform, which is called Canvas. In this scenario, the English 101 class is, in normal circumstances, in person and carries no additional fee. But the hybrid history class has a fee of $18.50, and the art class has a class fee of $25. So the total for this quarter is $228 between student voted fees and class fees. And that's for one quarter. In addition to that, we need to factor in books and supplies, which again can vary greatly. Looking at this particular scenario for this quarter, English 101 books could be approximately $100 between the few books that are required. History might cost about $115 for textbooks, and for art, only clay is required. And that's actually a pottery class. Art 114 is pottery, and clay, I believe, is about $25. So in addition to the $228 in class fees and student voted fees, there are about $250 in textbook and supply fees for this quarter. Now, rental of books is also an option, which could reduce the cost. If you prefer not to rent, students can also choose to sell their books back to the bookstore at the end of the quarter to recuperate a small portion of the cost initially spent on those books. Now, our fee waiver and book loan program is available to students who qualify. So students who meet any of the following requirements can have their student voted fees waived and borrow books from Running Start's library. So eligibility requirements include if a student has been eligible for free reduced lunch anytime in the last 5 years, if the student was a college-bound student, meaning they signed up for the college-bound scholarship in 7th or 8th grade in middle school, if the family meets income eligibility guidelines, and we have a chart on the fee waiver and book loan application that you can reference. If a student is a foster youth, or if the family receives any public assistance. We need any one of those 5 scenarios to be eligible for the fee waiver and book loan program. Now, the application that I referenced was on the last page of the Running Start enrollment packet that the student turned in before registering for the quarter. We also have this application available on the Running Start website at greenriver.edu/Running Start, and there is a forms section on that page where you'll find the application. If you feel you're eligible, please fill out the application and submit the appropriate documentation as indicated on the form. They're bolded under each eligibility requirement. For example, a student who's eligible for free reduced lunch would need to submit a copy of the letter you received from the district indicating you're eligible. So submit that documentation with the application. Now, what this does, I mentioned that the fee waiver program waives student voted fees. So if we look at the same scenario as the last slide where students had to pay $184.50 in class fees in student voted fees and $43.50 in class fees, that same student that's now eligible for fee waiver only has to pay the $43.50 in class fees, and they save $184.50 in student voted fees. And then because of our book loan program, students would really only have to pay for supplies. They can for sure get at least one book from our library each quarter, and more if we can, but we guarantee at least one book that we can provide for every student each quarter. So if we look at supplies and the class fee cost, the total for that quarter is more around $68.50 rather than about $478 for a normal, I guess a normal scenario that we would see for Running Start students between books, supplies, and fees. Now, academic standards. Academic standards at Green River College is something that we take seriously, and this is something that we hold all Green River students to. So the whole college looks at 3 things every quarter. Number 1, students have to earn at least a 2.0 quarterly GPA. Number 2, they also have to maintain a minimum of a 2.0 cumulative GPA from quarter to quarter. And number 3, students have to complete at least 75% of the credits they started the quarter with, of the credits attempted. So we're looking for those 3 things. We look at every student's grades every quarter. It does take some time to go through. And so what happens if a student doesn't meet academic standards? The first time they don't meet academic standards, say they didn't get that 2.0 GPA, they would be considered to be at the caution level of academic standards. They would receive an email, of course, to their Green River student email account, letting them know that they didn't meet academic standards. We would remind them of all the free tutoring services available, reach out to them to see if they need assistance or need to meet with an advisor. The second quarter, a student doesn't meet academic standards, and this doesn't have to be consecutive, but the second quarter, a student doesn't meet academic standards, they would receive a registration block because this gets a little more serious. In addition to that registration block, a student will be required to fill out some paperwork for us, and this again is received in their student email. The paperwork would require then the high school counselor's signature, likely a meeting with the high school counselor. It would require parent guardian signature, and then they must meet with their Running Start advisor to discuss specific strategies for improvement and success moving forward. And the reason we have so many steps in this at this level is because if a student does not meet academic standards for a third quarter, they are then dismissed from the Running Start program and must return to their high school to complete graduation requirements. Why is this important? It has a big impact, number 1, on high school graduation. We've seen students who get dismissed or even, had 2 quarters where they didn't pass any of their classes who couldn't graduate from high school on time. So that's a really big impact that we want students to be aware of. Students who are playing sports may not be eligible to play sports because of their grades. If they want to stay on the team and whatnot, they need to be maintaining those grades here, even at college. It can also impact university admissions and even eligibility to get into sports programs at the university. A minimum 2.0 GPA is just that. It's a bare minimum. It does not make a student competitive for university admissions. So it's very important that students put their best effort forward right from the beginning, so that they can have the best chance possible to get into the university of their choice. Finally, academic standards has a major impact on financial aid and scholarship eligibility. Now this can get a little confusing, but financial aid, when a student is not eligible for financial aid right now while they're in Running Start, but when a student applies for financial aid their senior year and they're ready to plan for finances after Running Start, financial aid will look at all college credits attempted, whether they were receiving financial aid or not. So if a student had a poor track record of grades, financial aid typically will put a student on, I think it's called probation or restriction. I've had students in the past who had to fill out a petition to get financial aid just for their very first quarter because they, had below a 2.0 GPA while they were in Running Start. Okay, so this has financial implications down the road. And of course, to be competitive for scholarships, students need to have a much higher GPA even than the 2.0 that we require. So advising in degree planning, our team of advisors in Running Start does an amazing job with our students, helping them reach their goals. When a student comes to us for educational planning, we help them create a 1 to 2 year educational plan that maps out their courses for each quarter. So we take into consideration their high school graduation requirements, first of all, because that's the student's first priority in Running Start is to graduate from high school. Secondly, we take into consideration their associate degree requirements, if that's a student's goal while in Running Start. And then thirdly, we want to help students prepare for transfer to university, again, if that's their goal. So we have many degrees and programs, as you can see on this slide here. You can find these degrees and programs by hovering over the students section on the top part of the website, and then you'll find pretty easily degrees and programs from there. So our degrees and programs on this page are listed alphabetically. It indicates whether a certificate, associate degree, transfer option, or bachelor's degree are available for each of those categories. What we focus on with students in the wrap session on the right-hand side is transfer degrees and career and technical education programs. So with transfer degrees, we have many transfer options: associate in arts, associate in business, pre-nursing, math education, and many science degrees. So we have a few degrees that are called direct transfer agreements, and that basically means that when a student completes that degree labeled DTA or direct transfer agreement, that's designed to fulfill a university's general education or basically core requirements, your equivalent of your first 2 years of almost any bachelor's degrees. That direct transfer agreement is an agreement between the community colleges in Washington and most universities in Washington state, the exception of the UW schools and I think University of Puget Sound. But when a student completes that, they would pretty easily be able to transfer their credits and fulfill gen ed requirements. Now, that doesn't mean a student is ready for their major. So we highly encourage students to, again, meet with their assigned advisor in Running Start to, yes, map out an AA degree, but also plan, if they know, for their specific major. For example, a student majoring in business has a very specific set of classes to complete as prerequisites to get into the major. So if a student wasn't planning for that set of prerequisites all along, they could have completed an AA degree and met all the university requirements. That's great. But if they weren't planning for that specific major, they may have an additional year to take of prerequisites to complete before they can even apply to the business program. So that would be adding time. So we encourage, again, students to come visit their advisor so we can help them plan for their transfer, help them to become major ready as well. I do want to make a quick note about career and technical education. We have many career and tech programs, and those are not designed to transfer to university. Rather, those are designed to give students specific career training skills to go out into the workforce and get a job. So we have many of those that are popular with students: information technology, aviation, accounting, automotive, etc. And then we do offer several bachelor's of applied science degrees, and those again are in the career and technical education fields, such as software development, forestry, business marketing and entrepreneurship, to name a few examples. So we've helped many of our students, transition into a bachelor's program here at Green River too. All right, I want to cover a few important dates and deadlines coming up. Number one, our fee waiver and book loan application, as I mentioned earlier. If you didn't already fill out the application but feel you may be eligible, please turn that into us as soon as possible. The sooner the better, because we have been handing out books to students who have requested them. But for sure, we need to have that application in the Friday before the quarter starts, which is September 18th. Second, students need to be responsible for finding books and supplies that are required on their own. Those are loaded into the bookstore at the end of August or early September every year. And so students can look up that information actually through My Green River. They can, on the homepage of My Green River, they should have their schedule there and an option to click on check for books, and that pulls up automatically exactly what is required. Fees were due September 1st. If those haven't been paid, please make sure to pay those as soon as possible. Again, those can be covered through My Green River. There's a link to pay for fees there. And then finally, the quarter begins on Monday, September 21st. This quarter in particular, because things have moved online, all classes are accessed through Canvas, is where students should start. There is a quick links section in the upper right-hand corner of the website. Canvas can be accessed through there, and of course through My Green River. Students should be able to look up their courses that aren't completely published, but they should be able to verify the courses they have registered in Canvas on Friday, September 18. But by noon on Monday, September 21st, all classes should be loaded into Canvas. If a student has trouble accessing their classes in Canvas, they should email eLearning, and their email is elearning@greenriver.edu. Finally, our contact information. If you have any questions, I will be sticking around for more specific Q&A if you have any. But right now, as we are working remotely for sure through fall quarter and perhaps longer, the best way to reach us is through our virtual lobby. If you haven't already, you can visit us through greenriver.edu/VA, which is short for virtual assistance. You will find several offices that have a virtual lobby presence. For Running Start, you will just scroll down and find the Connect to Running Start option. We're also available via email. Our email is runningstart@greenriver.edu. We encourage students that at this point, that's the only way to submit forms is through email right now, but if they have questions, they're certainly welcome to email us. And we do have a direct line that you can, if we're not readily available, you certainly can leave a voicemail. Please note that we do operate our phones through Teams, and so there's a bit of a lag between when the phone is done ringing and your opportunity to leave a voicemail. It's about a 30-second gap of about dead silence. It's a little bit odd, but that's what we have. Our main phone number is here on the screen at 253-288-3380. Finally, we have a text reminder service through Remind. We are getting used to using it, so please bear with us, but you certainly can sign up to receive text reminders. We'll send out quick reminders about, hey, an important email went out about the upcoming fall quarter, or your EVF is due soon, to help you and your students stay on top of things. You can text @running to 253-948-9470. Thank you so very much for your time and attention viewing this information, and we very much look forward to working with you and your student this academic year.